What's up, everybody, and welcome to a very special episode of Talkin Nets. We're coming to you recording on Wednesday, December 2nd, going live on Thursday, December 3rd. And this month, we're going to watch your Brooklyn Nets play some real NBA basketball, some real games, some real things to talk about, not just rumors, not just dreaming of the days when KD and Kyrie are going to be playing for something that matters. We said this whole past season last year, we're waiting for 2021. We're waiting for that season. Well, that season is here. We're ready to go. Talkin Nets is ready to go. How you doing, Keith?
Yo, what up, man? I'm doing well, doing all right. What a warped year. It's crazy. Like, we really are about to walk into the KD Kyrie era for real. And we are about to watch possibly the best Brooklyn Nets team we've ever seen. Whoa. Let me not get ahead of myself. But I'm excited for it. We've been waiting so long for this. It's just crazy. Like, I just got back from Mexico, and I'm trying to adjust. I've been gone for like a week, literally 7 days. And yeah, let's talk about Thanksgiving. Thanks was given. How was your Thanksgiving, Hudson?
Man, it was good. It was a lot of a lot of stuff to do because I had to move out. I'm back home, back upstate. You did significantly more traveling than me, but I'm 2 hours north of where I'm usually coming from. So my audio sounds a little different. I'm still finagling out the new
Yo,
setup.
I didn't even notice. I'm so burnt. So you moved out of the Fordham campus and back home for this Thanksgiving weekend. You moved for like Christmas break. Like tell me
Yeah, so
about that.
they're kicking us out until February 1st is when I'm heading back. A little before then, actually, but yeah, they just kicked us straight out, and now I'm here. I'm back at home, back with the family, and just rejuvenated, rested. I
Yeah.
gave my thanks, and now I'm ready. I'm excited to hit these next couple weeks really hard just to finish out 2020 as well as anyone can finish out 2020.
You did a good job with your backdrop. It looks almost the same, like obviously the square, and then you got the Brooklyn Nets flag. It looks almost the same as your dorm room, but I can acoustically, I can tell that you got more space. Like it's a little bit echoey, but no problem there. I'm glad you're home, man. That's awesome. Like I didn't know. I thought you were going home for Thanksgiving break. I was gonna ask, like, how does it feel to go home for a couple days and come right back to school? But no, you're there until February 1st. I had no idea.
Yeah, no, I'm I'm chilling here. Gonna have some kinks to work out. Recording from a pretty empty room. Gonna have to, give it that dorm room coziness a little bit. Something I'm gonna have to replicate here. But man, I'm just excited to be ready and for all this holiday season coming up, a time to give thanks, rest, relax, and then in just 20 days exactly, actually, the Nets are opening up the NBA season.
Man, what day is it? Oh, today's the 22nd. Yeah, or today's the second, and we start the 22nd. I'm honestly still, coming back from being on the plane, being on the beach, being in the pool, being in Mexico. Went down to celebrate the wall never being built. Went down to get away from COVID. It's interesting because, you know, I booked this trip like months ago, my fiance and I think we actually wanted it to be like a honeymoon type thing. We were originally going to get married on November 11th, 2020. Things didn't materialize because of coronavirus. It actually rained that day, so I'm glad we didn't try and do that. But we didn't want to cancel this like honeymoon type trip, so we went to Mexico for a week. And man, it's just crazy to get out of the country, one, and then not have to do these like COVID 10 people or less Zoom meeting Thanksgivings that people were talking about, which, I mean, we have small families and we would have probably done, separate Thanksgiving, her go with her family, me go with mine. But I think this is the best Thanksgiving I had. I was in the pool and on the beach and at a resort. And I've never done that for Thanksgiving time. So that was dope. If people care about where I've been, I haven't tweeted anything. I haven't posted anything on Instagram. Like, when I go off the grid, I'm off the grid. Like, I'm out of office. I'm OOO. Like, don't send me a Slack message. Don't send me an email. Like, I'm drinking margaritas and tequilas and tequila shots and Las Cervezas for a week. But all right, enough about Thanksgiving the first 5 minutes. Yeah, Hudson, let's go. Hudson's going to lead the way today on Talking Nets since I've been literally out of pocket and like not paying attention to anything. I caught a couple things in the NBA world, and honestly, I was just pumped to see the schedule release. And like you said, in 20 days, when people listen to this podcast, in 19 days, it's real. And, in regular times, we would already be a couple weeks into the NBA season. So I guess we're going to play a little catch up. But, I'm pumped for this, man. This is, this is our second year doing the pod. And this is kind of what we started the pod for. We didn't start the pod for Spencer Dinwiddie and Karis LeVert. We started the pod because Kyrie and KD are in Brooklyn, and they're going to have a great team, and they're going to be competitive, and all eyes are going to be on Brooklyn and the Nets, and we're going to cover it. Also, wanted to add, we took the week off last week, but we gave you 2 podcasts the week of the draft and everything with free agency. So sorry if you missed us last week, but hopefully you enjoyed your Thanksgiving as well. And I'll throw it back to Hudson. Like I said, he's going to lead us, rock the A mic, and take us through this podcast.
Yeah, well, let's kick it off. Obviously we missed some things last week, but we have news that just broke today, going to be tomorrow, or going to be yesterday for you guys listening to us on Thursday. But LeBron, the 36-year-old man, keeps making money. He just re-upped with the Lakers, 2-year max, $85 million over 2 years. Well-deserved. Pretty much nothing else to say other than well-deserved. I don't know if anyone thought anyone would be able to do it at such a high level when they're so old, but LeBron is doing it. He's obviously playing at a high level. His agents, his representatives are doing their job at a high level too, getting him that 2-year max. It's interesting though, my take on it, and I'll toss it to you in a second, is they got this done before AD got done.
Yeah.
We all thought AD was gonna re-sign on Thanksgiving was the news, and now AD's working some things out. So it's interesting to see that LeBron got his deal done before AD did. Hopefully they got that cash to give that man what he deserves, because he deserves it.
Yeah, I mean, it's the king, LeBron is the king. You take care of the king first. 85 mil, got to run him the max. I'm not surprised at all. He just won a championship and literally went to LA and said he was going to return the Lakers to the championship, to the finals, did it, won, and he did it in potentially the hardest year to do it because it was October to October. Leave your family, go into a bubble. It'll be remembered forever. And I think as time goes on, it'll be respected even more. Of course, LeBron gets paid, and the Lakers have won the offseason just like they won the finals. The rich only get richer. I'm thinking now about Bronny. I'm thinking about Bronny, LeBron James Jr., right? He's got 2 more years of high school? Is he? No, he's got 3 more years of high school. He was a freshman this past year. So I guess he's a sophomore now. He might have 2 more years until he gets into the NBA. LeBron will be around. LeBron ain't going to play 2 years and then dip out. This 2-year max contract, that's more for the financials. LeBron won't be done after that.
No, LeBron's going to keep it moving. He's going to keep representing the NBA community well, as he's done for his whole career. But someone who didn't represent the NBA community well, Keith, I don't know if you saw this. I think it was pretty hard to miss. Nate Robinson got his ass beat by Jake Paul, and he stole the show from Mike Tyson.
Oh, yeah, because
he got beat so hard. Mike Tyson went and fought Roy Jones Jr. that same night. But no one cares because Nate Robinson got knocked the hell out in 2 rounds. Keith, do you see this? What'd you think?
So I overheard this conversation about Jake Paul in Mexico, but I was, like I said, I was off the grid. And then I did check my Twitter from like Safari on my phone, but I didn't put the app back on my phone. And I saw in like the trending topics, like I saw that like Roy Jones and Tyson, it was a draw. But Jake Paul beat Nate Robinson's ass. And now I know, like, later when I burn one and get in the bed, I know what I'm going to look up on YouTube or how to stream. I got to watch this. I want to see how it went down. Nate Robinson is little, but he's a freak athlete. Everybody knows he played all those years in the NBA. He also played football at the University of Washington. But Nate is older, right? Like, Nate might have almost 15 years on Jake Paul. And Jake Paul has been doing this boxing thing. Here's another tidbit for me. Like, I fell into this rabbit hole about 2 years ago when I learned about like Jake Paul, Alyssa Violet, and Rice Gum. Some of these like YouTuber kids that have these houses. And I was a fan. I was a fan of Team 10. They had this song that I liked. I was like, yo, these kids are really doing it. And then I found out some more about it. And then like Jake Paul and his brother, like, I don't know, they did some sketchy shit where I was like, I can't rock with those guys. But I saw Jake Paul fight this black kid from the UK. I can't think of his name.
KSI.
KSI,
another YouTuber.
yes. Another famous YouTuber. And they like trained and they did that like the real, like they had the, you know, trash talking and the pre-fight stuff. And I think Jake Paul won that too. So
I think it was a draw the first one, and then KSI got him in the second time, the rematch.
Okay. Either way.
So there's some real fights.
Right. So, but like what I'm saying with boxing, and that's the thing too, is one thing to street fight, it's a whole nother thing to box. And if you're training for boxing and you've been training longer than someone, like Nate Robinson, he does like Bleacher Report, like videos where he pulls up on LeVar Ball at the Big Baller Mansion. Like Nate Robinson is in shape, but he's about 15 years older, I'm going to guess, than Jake Paul. And he probably hasn't been training like Jake Paul has been training. Even his brother was Logan Paul. He was boxing too. So he's got his brother probably to spar with. Like Nate probably went in there thinking shit was sweet. And now that's forever. Like that's forever on your ledger, Nate Robinson. I hope you got the bag. I hope you got paid for that.
He got the cash, but I think he lost all the respect. I put a link in the notes, just some quotes, because right before the game, he said he was going to represent the NBA family well.
Damn.
Steph Curry says.
Ron Artest is like, no, that ain't it, brother.
Steph Curry said he did not. Joel Embiid said night, night. Bradley Beal just said dog. Swaggy P, he just sent out the laughing, crying emoji.
Yeah, I'm scrolling through these right now.
Nate Robinson, I'm going to shock the world, bro. Steph Curry, after the fight, said, I see no lies.
Oh, he knocked him out. Like
he knocked him out. Second round. Knocked him cold.
KO in the second round. Oh, no. This is what we watching tonight. I'm going to get high as I can get before this.
It's not even a long watch.
I was about to say, it's going to be quick.
It's 2 rounds, and you get to watch him take a fall right in his face. Oh, my God.
Well, this is going to be an entertaining 6 minutes. Come on, Nate, dog.
He just got he got messed up.
Well, what I say about that for the Nets fans, that's what you get for coming to Brooklyn with the Bulls back in the day and knocking us out of the playoffs.
I love it. But we gotta bring it back to the real world. I can't believe, you would have told me a year ago we're spending 10 minutes talking about Nate Robinson and Logan Paul. I wouldn't have believed you. But we have some more news, some slightly Nets news. This was some news that actually broke right when we would have been recording the podcast. The Nets lose out on the Serge Ibaka lottery. He goes to the Clippers, gets a much bigger contract than the Nets would have been able to offer. And then another player who Nets fans are interested in, Batum, he also goes to the Clippers. Both Nets targets, both misses. Of course, Nets Twitter got all a buzz because now that we got KD and Kyrie, we think we're going to sign everybody. Of course, we cannot, and we did not. And these are some big losses. Keith, I know you were always on the Ibaka train. So what are you feeling that, we missed out, especially on Serge Ibaka, someone who, Nets fans
would have been a perfect fit.
Really, really knew that there was going to be a perfect fit.
Yeah, I was saying I was leaning towards us figuring out how to get Ibaka more so than Harden. Like, I feel like it made more sense. But, I mean, it makes more sense for him to go play with Kawhi, who he played with more recently than KD. Just won a ring with 2 seasons ago. What it do, baby? Like, who was Kawhi rolling up in the car with? He was with Serge Ibaka. They're homies. And LA is not a bad place to be. So Serge gets more money. I think he ended up getting 19 mil with them versus people were saying, oh, he's going to come to Brooklyn and sign the veteran minimum for like 5 mil. Nah, he's going to the Clippers. And I also saw they got Batum, and then they're bringing back Reggie Jackson. So I think the Lakers won the offseason, free agency, whatever, but the Clippers didn't do too bad either. and we did all right. But I think, we already have more than enough. And the Harden is quiet for the Harden trade. That was like a cool week. But yeah, I'm over it, man. I'm just like, hey, we're this close to it now. Maybe a move or two gets made, but hey, we got who we got, and we got more than enough.
Absolutely. And when you said more than enough, that's going to segue right into what's Nets, talking about some Nets news. More than enough, to me, is an understatement. The Nets have on their roster, under contract, 10 guards. 10. We can only carry 15 people on the team. 10 of them right now are guards. We got an A unit and a B unit of guards because we just brought back Chris Chiozza, a re-signing that I was always hoping for. I think Chiozza showed out when he played for us. A great assist man. He could do more than that, though. He could shoot a little bit from the outside. He drove a little bit. He looked great. And then the Nets bring in Eli Okubo, former Phoenix Suns, player from the 2018 draft, a draft that Sean Marks liked a lot. He scouted Eli Okubo before the draft, didn't end up getting him, but now we got him, and that brings the count of Nets guards up to 10, which is too many. That's too many guards.
Mathematically, it makes no sense.
Mathematically, it's too many guards.
It makes no sense to go into the season like this. So in the next 19, 20 days, something has to happen. So I said I'm out on Ibaka. I said I'm out on Harden, and something might happen in the next 3 weeks. No, something has to happen in the next 3 weeks because this roster is currently constructed. Doesn't make sense to start the season. I say we have enough, but we have more than enough guards where it's like they're going to try and do something else here. I think they're still on the phones. Yeah, they have to.
Literally, we have more than enough. We have 19 players under contract and 21 players going to camp. And as soon as we saw that Landry Shamet trade on draft night about 2 weeks ago, we said, we're missing something. Mm-hmm. More has to be coming. So that's my question to you. What do you think? What more is coming? Because something has to come.
Man, we did the draft night like live reaction pod, just recorded ourselves watching the draft, and we had that like eureka moment. Like, okay, we started thinking like about like all the guards on the team. We're like, this is incomplete. Something else has to happen. It didn't happen draft night. It didn't happen last week. Maybe it'll happen this week or in the next 2-3 weeks to come. But I want to say, in Sean Marks, we trust. And I think Sean Marks is quietly working on a few different things. Now, I know that there's a lot of like free agency trackers. I know a lot of guys are off the board. I know in Netsland, all of our like wish list guys like are pretty much, where they're going to be. But it ain't over till it's over. It ain't done yet. And I would bet that Sean Marks is going to cook something up because, man, you talk about this team right now with all these guards and all these minutes that these guys are going to deserve, command, and get. This can't work out. Are we going to play small? Maybe we're going to run like the Rockets ran this year. And nah, we're not going to do that. Like something else is coming. I just don't know. I don't have that inside info. This is Talkin Nets. We're fans. We're not analysts. And we're also not hype beasts or sources or people that are going to just say something without having anything to back it up. So I'm just going to tell you straight up. I'm waiting like everybody else is waiting.
But don't worry. We follow those sources on Twitter. And one of the biggest sources for the Harden news, which a lot of people are saying is dead. A lot of people are saying is on ice. Houston seems to have all the leverage. They don't want to move him. Harden wants to go, but they don't want to let him go anywhere. But Apooch says that, what he first reported when he said that there was a deal done in principle, it was a verbal agreement. He said, what he's gathered over the last couple of days, Houston is not bowing down to Harden or the Nets and is in no rush to make a trade. He doesn't think it's dead, but nothing is imminent at this moment, which is pretty much accurate to everything that we've seen. It's accurate to what Woj and Shams have gone out and reported. And it's accurate to what KD said in his first day of camp presser on Monday. He said that he didn't talk to and he didn't recruit James Harden. But he did say, quote, "We're all professionals. We just go about our days and go home. Whatever happens, happens." So knowing that there's a trade coming, knowing that there's something moving, he's lying, right? He's not telling the truth.
Yeah, he's definitely lying. That's big cap. You think him and Harden are boys? Like, you think him and Harden didn't talk at all? Like, maybe you didn't intentionally or directly recruit him and say, "Hey, man, do this." But like, right, we're all professionals, so like, you could have a couple conversations, and your boy is checking out the landscape, and he's like, "Yo, I want to play in Brooklyn." You might not have actually recruited him as far as like sending him a letter and asking him to come over. But like, I call cap on that. They definitely talked. They definitely spoke. The rumors don't come from nowhere. They don't come from thin air. There's something to it. And I'm looking at the Rockets like they signed Boogie Cousins, but they still have to figure out what to do with Russell Westbrook and what to do with Harden, because neither one of those dudes want to be there. And like, people think they won't hold out. They might hold out to start the season. The season is starting during Christmas, New Year's. Like, these guys got money. Westbrook has a family and like little kids. I think he's got 2 or 3 little kids. He might hold down and be like, I'm not playing to start the year. So the Rockets are saying they're not going to bow down. The Rockets are saying that they're not going to be pressured by Harden or by the Nets, but they better do something. Or they're going to like roll out there with Boogie Cousins and Ben McLemore. And I don't know, Ben McLemore actually isn't on their team anymore. Who's even over there? Austin Rivers, PJ Tucker. I don't know. I just think that I call cap on KD saying he didn't recruit, and I call cap on the Rockets thinking that they even have this much control with like Daryl Morey leaving. Nah, like I think they're panicking right now, and they're trying to figure out what to do because everything is happening so fast. The season is fast approaching, and they'll be bottom feeders if they don't get it right, and they'll be laughing stocks of the league if they don't get it right, and their best players end up not showing up. Like, camp is now.
Exactly. And if you look at this Harden Westbrook situation, look at the team that they used to play for. Look at the Thunder. Look at what they're doing. Look at what Sam Presti's doing. There needs to be some level of understanding that when it's not it, don't lean into it. Right. Don't lean into trying to be it when it's not it. That doesn't work in any sport, and it certainly doesn't work in the NBA when players have so much leverage. So don't try and force something to happen when the players don't want it to happen, because at the end of the day, you're only as good as the players you put on the court. And if the players refuse to go on the court or even refuse to give 100%, because we all know Harden can drop 25, 30 points without trying. That's without breaking a sweat.
Yeah. But
is that what you want? You don't succeed doing that. You didn't even succeed when he was going out and putting, everything out there on the court every night. When Russell Westbrook was trying to bring back prime Russ, none of that happened. None of that got it done. And now these guys don't even want to be there. So explain to me how you think that would work. It just wouldn't. There's no situation in which that works.
It's over for that. And like, the Rockets had their best opportunity to win when Chris Paul was on the team 2 years ago. Last year, I thought they might have been able to do something like, okay, Russ and Harden, and that didn't really work out. I like, they broke basketball for a little bit, playing that small ball, having the shooters, but like, they've already lost Robert Covington. They've lost guys on that team, even losing Clint Capella 2 years ago. Like that, like, it's over for that competitive Rockets team that they had. So when you mentioned OKC, they have a plan to not even just rebuild, but while they're rebuilding, to reload and still have talented guys and still be competitive. I don't know what the Rockets are doing. They're looking to just bottom out. Daryl Morey is out. Westbrook, Harden don't want to be there. Other guys were rumored not wanting to be there. They're not going to be competitive. There are too many good teams in the West. There's too many good teams in the NBA.
Exactly. And take a lesson. Like, when the Pelicans knew what AD wanted, they got what they could, and they got a lot. And now look at what they're an exciting team. They just got Steven Adams. They're looking like a lot of fun for these next couple of years. I'm excited to watch them with Zion and Brandon Ingram. It's going to be amazing. Look at what a team like the Hawks did. The Hawks, they said, okay, we're rebuilding. They drafted a ton of people. They picked up a ton of people. They just got Gallinari. They have Clint Capella on their team. They got John Collins. They got all these players. They're actually doing something. You can't just hope something's going to happen and have it happen. But this is Talkin Nets. This is what's Nets. This is Nets news. And we actually do have some real Nets news to talk about. We've seen, Nash and Marks go out there for some show pressers, just for some introductory conferences. We didn't get much information out of those. But first day of camp, they all came out and they talked. and they gave us some real info aside from the KD stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You know, from Nash, he let out and he said the Nets are going to run an up-tempo offense. It's going to be similar to that 7 seconds or less offense. And just like we predicted, Jacques Vaughn, defensive coordinator, D'Antoni, offensive coordinator. Keith, I know I'm hype about it. What do you think about this choice?
Yeah. It's not how I would have drawn it up over the summer, but man, I'm cool with it. Let Steve Nash be the head guy. Everybody knows, but then right behind him, offense and defense, you got D'Antoni and Jacques Vaughn, two former head coaches. One obviously with a lot of experience, one with a little bit of experience, but both guys with experience that are going to help this team. And they kind of, divvy it up where it's like, hey, Jacques Vaughn can focus on the defense, D'Antoni focus on the offense. Steve Nash, you focus on the media and the relationship with the players and everything else that you oversee as head coach. I like the idea of the tempo. Like I said, we got all these guards now, and we got all these smalls, all these little, not little guys, but not big. We don't have that many bigs on the roster. So, yeah, you're expecting these guys to push the tempo. You're expecting these guys to, get buckets. I want to see it, and it's not even like I'm eager to see it. It sounds good right now. It sounds good in theory, and I think we'll be able to do it. But these guys got to practice in the next few days and be ready to rock. And it's going to be a process. It's not going to be, it's not going to be December, January where this thing is really clicking. But we don't need it to click in December, January. We need it to be ready to roll by the summer when we're in the the playoffs and finals. So. Hey, it looks good on paper. I'm happy with it.
We needed to be ready to roll for the playoffs. And that brings up kind of an NBA talking point. It's been an NBA talking point for a little while, load management. And Nash came out and he said it's probably unlikely that KD and Kyrie both play 72 games. He said it's such a layoff for both of them, especially KD. We have to be very careful with him and his adaptation process, getting back into the game, and we have to protect him from himself. And that stirred up a lot of controversy on Nets Twitter, but I don't see any of that. I don't see any controversy. I didn't expect either of them to play all 72 games because why would you? They didn't come here. They're not getting paid to put up regular season numbers. They're getting paid to put up playoff numbers, and they can't do that if they're hurt. So I have no problem with it whatsoever. And that's me saying that as a fan, as someone who wants to be in the building and watch them play, especially during the regular season, because that's when tickets are cheaper. I have no problem with it. Keith, I'll let you talk about it, but I don't. Do you have a problem with it?
Nah, dude, it's 10 less games, but it's a marathon, not a sprint, right? Like we want to get to the finish line when it gets warm again. We're not worried about these guys playing. I'm not. There's enough talented guys on this team where I'm not gonna cry about it if KD gets a night off. Coming back from an Achilles, a rehab that he said, it was a process like he had never been through before. And just this much time off from basketball for a guy that has played basketball every day of his life for, years. So, like, I'm cool with us taking our time with KD coming back. KD, even though, KD just seems like he's more mature. I watched a little bit of his, media day coverage, and he seems like we're getting a, like, veteran grown man KD. Like, this is KD that has now been outside of the NBA and gotten that vantage point of everything in the league. And I think that's going to help him with his playing style. That's going to help him with adapting with this team, this coaching staff. I'm not worried about him playing all 72 games and the playoff run. We need him for the playoffs. We need all of these guys healthy for the playoffs, right? And even Kyrie had a shoulder surgery, and he was hurt last year. And people were crying about that because he didn't play. And neither one of these guys were in the bubble and this, that, and the other. And we all know the deal, right? I think NBA fans in general are going to see that with this 72 games and this quick restart, some of these guys that we're expecting to see aren't going to be playing in the beginning of the year. Some of these guys that we're expecting to see aren't going to be, playing. They might play half the minutes you're used to them seeing, but at least you get the NBA. And the last thing I'll say about that is, like, us as Nets fans, we can't physically go to the games. And a lot of the discussion around load management and why fans hated it was, I drove 7 hours to see LeBron play the Pacers and LeBron's out tonight. He's sitting tonight. Well, most of these arenas in the NBA, most of these places are not going to be taking fans to start. So like that whole argument is dead. We're going to be watching it on TV. The Nets have plenty of guys that I want to see play, new guys that I want to see play. And I think we're going to be in good shape for when, we're later in the season and KD does have his full win. And, him and Kyrie do have, more reps together. Like, I'm not in a rush. We waited long enough for this. Like, I'm going to trust the professionals, trust this organization, the front office, and the coaching staff, even the trainers, even the medical staff, on what it should be with this Nets team. We have an embarrassment of riches, and we don't got to throw all our money in the first couple of weeks. We gotta budget this for the long haul.
And here's my thing with that when it comes to Nets fans. We're all so nostalgic about that 2018 team when we watched, LeVert, Dinwiddie, Allen, go out there and play. We love watching them play. Some people don't want to let them go. They don't want to even trade them in a Harden trade.
Don't forget D'Lo. Remember D'Lo was on that team?
We all loved it.
Somebody's thinking.
We all loved. Yeah, I remember that D'Lo was back in that team. But you know what? You cut off my transition, Keith. I'm rocking a mic. You're right. Someone's going to be like, "Oh, you forgot D'Lo. You forgot D'Lo." Well, I'm talking about Karras, Spence, and J.A. because Sean Marks said he's already had and he's going to continue to have open and honest conversations with those guys about all the trade rumors that's going on and about all that stuff. So when I read that, I said, okay, those are conversations that need to be had if something's going to happen. If nothing's going to happen, you can pass them in the hallway and say, listen, your spot's secure. No worries about it. You're good. You're on this team.
Something is going to happen,
but
for
something's
sure.
brewing. Mark said, they're going to have a competitive training camp. That's why we're at 21 players. He wants it to be wide open for two-way spots. But boy, 21 players, a lot of players, 19 of them under contract. It's too many players. And I don't think the lineup we're looking at today is the same lineup we're going to have, let's say, going into 2021, the year itself, going after New Year's. I don't think we have that same lineup. And that's even before the trade deadline, before the All-Star break.
The Lakers want Dinwiddie. I saw some rumors about that. I just don't think this is the roster. And I don't think it makes sense. And I think we have a very smart front office, GM, and they're not going to just roll in. I'd be very surprised if we roll in like this. And I think if we did make a move for some type of blockbuster trade or deal or free agent, whatever, the three guys that you mentioned between LeVert, Dinwiddie, and Allen, I would say 2 out of 3 of those guys are going to be gone if we actually make that move and do that deal. So sit tight, Nets fans. Much to be seen.
And you know what? Trade him to a contender. Trade him to a big team, and we might see him again because the NBA is not going easy on the Nets scheduling. They know that the Nets are the premier product of the NBA, and so they're giving the Nets the big games. And we just got the schedule released today as we record on Wednesday. It's going to be a day old tomorrow when you guys hear this. But opening day, Nets Warriors. And then on Christmas, 3 days later, we have the Celtics, the return of Kyrie to the TD Garden. Keith, what are you thinking about this? When I saw that, I said, it just got real. This is as real as it gets.
Yeah, I saw you tweet out like talking about revenge games, and yeah, it's about storylines. And with the NFL, I always say what the NFL does better than anyone else is they match up Brady versus Mahomes, and they get these storylines or these. Okay, this guy was traded from this team, or this guy was drafted by this team, and now he's matching up against his division, whatever. For the Nets, with the opening up against the Warriors. If you remember when the season ended, the last game we played was against the Lakers, bust their ass. It was like Game 7 at the Staples Center. And then we were supposed to play in the Chase Center in the Warriors place, the Warriors' new arena in, I don't know exactly if it's in the Bay Area, but we were supposed to play there. So instead of, now we're opening up against them, and then I'm sure KD's going to play, right? Actually, I'm not sure he's going to play the first game. But you hope to see KD in a Nets jersey on the court against his former team. Like, fuck you, Draymond. Like I don't know. Everybody should want to see that. That should happen. And then with the Celtics, I'll never get out of my head, where is Kyrie?
Cheering that while Karras is dropping 51 points on him.
Karras is wearing Kyrie's shoes like he's right here. Boom. Hold this 50. So, the storylines are there. I'm looking forward to it, man, because like I said, we're not gonna be able to go to the games. I really was hoping that by this time, like something would figure out, but we're in New York. So whatever, because we're gonna watch the games. I'm gonna figure out how to live stream some of these games. I gotta hit up Brian Egan from the Glue Guys. I gotta hit up Matt Brooks. I gotta hit up Yes Network and figure out, how do we make this better for everyone that's watching basketball from home that can't go to the stadium? How do we connect the fans? How do we enjoy this Nets season that we've all been looking forward to? But it's an unorthodox season that, it isn't what we've all expected, because obviously we're not in the bubble anymore. So this will be the first time. Like, I know I'm rambling, I'm saying a lot, but of course I always talk a lot. Last night I watched my boys from Duke get their ass beat, and like it was eerie. I'm like, this isn't Cameron Indoor. Is this Cameron Indoor? I'm like, this is Coach K Court. And I'm seeing how they set up, Cameron Indoor. I'm like, this is weird, man. And then even watching like Kansas, Kentucky, which that's the Blue Bloods. Most of those guys on the court are going to the NBA. And even Bill Self came out. He was like, it felt like a scrimmage. It was weird. Yeah, because they're in this big arena and there's no one there. And you can hear the coaches calling out plays, instructions. Like, this is different, man. It's not like the bubble. The bubble was set up and done a certain way to like make it seem like you're watching an NBA game. You just can't necessarily see all the fans. College basketball, they don't have that production value. They don't have the money to do all of that. And now when we get into this NBA season and we see all the teams back in their arenas, expect for it to be a little bit of a different viewing experience, even, audio experience. Like, you can hear when these guys dunk, you hear ding, you hear the ding off the rim. And like I said, you can hear the coaches shouting out instructions and plays, and you can even hear these guys talking shit a little bit, which is cool. So, man, I'm excited for the opportunity for Hudson and I to cover it and us to figure out how to live stream. But I know this is going to be a rare, historic season. I mean, it already is for us as Nets fans. Never had this much hype and attention around us. But now it's going to be an empty Barclays Center and every other arena we go to for the most part. I think some arenas are going to have some fans. Obviously, like Florida. I think I said to you or someone, I was like, maybe I put it on my Twitter, the Tampa Raptors, right? The Toronto Raptors are playing in Tampa. Fingers crossed that they let fans in Tampa. I think the Raptors have enough of a fan base, and then the sports in Tampa, the Lightning, the Bucks, the Rays, those fans are probably going to go to the games. The Yankees have spring training in Tampa in 3 months. So fingers crossed for the Nets to be playing the Raptors around the same time that the Yankees are having spring training. I'm going to slide down there and potentially see a game. That's fingers crossed, prayers up for that. I'm hoping that goes down.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I also think there's a little bit of funny irony there, because there was a little talk last MLB offseason about the Rays maybe splitting time between Canada and Florida. And now we got a team splitting time between Canada and Florida. But no, I love it. I think we're going to do our best to make sure that there's, we might not have the community in the stands. We might not have the block. We might not have everyone cheering, saying, we go hard, let's go Nets. But we're going to have that online. Obviously, Nets Twitter has been popping off. We love our spot on Nets Twitter. The community has grown a bunch. I mean, the Twitter account, alone has gained like 250 followers in the last 2 weeks.
We see y'all.
And we see y'all. And we're building that community. So whether it's live stream, whether it's just tweeting stuff out, whether it's just talking, we're going to be talking Nets, and we want you guys to talk with us. And honestly, that feels like a great place to end the episode, Keith.
Yeah, man. You already know how we end the episode. Make sure you follow Hudson. Hudson, where can they follow you?
You can find me at Hudson Flynn _ on Instagram and Twitter.
You can follow me at Keith McPherson, real name, no gimmicks. Now let's get this voicemail cracking. We actually got like some voicemails the last time, but we need to make that a thing. We need to make this a thing because, like I said, it's part of the experience. Especially when these games get going, man. If you see something happen in the game, call the voicemail. The voicemail is 201-870-0461. You call up, I think it's my voice saying to leave a message. Make it less than a minute, and we'll put your voice on the pod. The pod is growing. Like, more people are listening to the pod. John Boy Media is growing, so make sure you follow John Boy Media across platforms, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. I think we even have a TikTok. Maybe I'll tap into that because I got no choice. TikTok is becoming it because Instagram is becoming lame. Make sure you follow Talkin Nets at Talkin Nets, only Twitter and Instagram. We do have a Facebook. I'm working on the Facebook, but you know, I know a lot of people don't even use Facebook, but it's out there. Make sure you subscribe to the pod, rate the pod 5 stars, and leave us a review. Say anything you want in the review. And if you screenshot that review and you tweet it at us or you DM us, next thing you know, I'm going to be asking you for your address, and I'll be sending you a Talkin Nets shirt. That's like a no-brainer. If you want a free shirt, a free Talkin Nets shirt, hit us up with a review, and we'll send that your way. And that's all we've got. It is December 2nd into December 3rd. Man, we're about 3 weeks away from getting on this podcast and talking about the game, getting on this podcast and talking about the players and our opponents and what we see and what's happening. And we'll be talking about points and assists and, you know, not all this other stuff, all this other, you know, hypotheticals and news that's going on. So, Talkin Nets fam, it's almost our time. Let's go Nets, Brooklyn.
We go hard.